Stop. You've been studying the wrong way without even realizing it. All those hours you've spent reading, highlighting, and making notes, it might feel productive, but what if I told you that up to 80% of that time is completely wasted? Imagine trying to fill a leaky bucket with water. No matter how much you pour in, it just keeps draining out. That's exactly how most people study. They absorb tons of information, only to have it vanish from their memory just days later. And the worst part? They don't even notice it's happening. How many times have you pulled an all-nighter, cramming for an exam, only to have your mind go completely blank the moment you see the questions? That's not a memory problem. It's a method problem. Your brain simply can't retain information that's been learned the wrong way. You see, passive learning methods, like just reading, highlighting, or watching videos, make your brain lazy. It starts to recognize the words on the page, but it doesn't truly understand or store them. It's like rewatching a movie over and over. You might remember the plot, but that doesn't make you the director. The hard truth is that most students only figure out the right way to study after years of wasted effort and frustration. But you can change that, starting right now. Effective studying isn't about how long you sit at your desk, it's about how much you actually remember. Once you master the right method, you'll save yourself years of stress and outperform those who study more but retain less. Let's talk about the biggest mistake students make. It isn't laziness, it's studying the wrong way. Most of us spend hours highlighting, rereading, and underlining our textbooks, thinking it's helping. But research shows a shocking truth. Your brain retains only about 10% of what you reread. The other 90% fades away within a week. You're creating a false sense of familiarity, confusing it with genuine understanding. Like we said, rewatching a movie doesn't make you a filmmaker. The second huge mistake is cramming. We've all been there, chugging coffee, trying to force-feed our brain a semester's worth of information in one night. But your brain treats this information overload like junk mail. It might store it in a temporary folder for the exam, but it hits the delete button almost immediately after. You might scrape by with a passing grade, but you'll have forgotten everything a week later. Meanwhile, the students who truly understand the material are moving far ahead, in school, in their careers, and in life. And the third mistake? Passive learning. Just reading a book or listening to a lecture without doing anything else. Think about it. You can't learn to swim by just reading a book about swimming, can you? The same principle applies to studying. If you don't actively practice, test yourself, or try to teach the concepts to someone else, your brain won't see the information as important enough to store long-term. So it's time to stop pouring water into that leaky bucket. Instead, let's fix the holes in your study method. It's time to start learning actively so that every single minute you invest in studying actually sticks in your mind. So, what is the right way to study? The secret is simple, yet revolutionary. Learning isn't about how much information you take in. It's about how much you keep. You know people who study for 3 hours and forget everything the next day. Then there are others who study for just 1 hour and seem to remember it all. The difference isn't the time they spend, it's their technique. Most students treat studying like a task of repetition. Read, write, repeat. But that's not how the brain learns. Our brains learn best when they are challenged, when they are forced to recall information from memory and make new connections. True learning happens when you make your brain think, question, and discover things for itself. This is where the concept of retention over consumption comes in. True learning isn't measured by how many pages you've read or how many videos you've watched. It's measured by what sticks in your mind afterward. Studying for hours without remembering anything is like eating a huge meal without digesting it. Your body gets no nutrients, and you get no knowledge. To study smart, you need to focus on quality, not quantity. Instead of pushing yourself to read 10 more pages, stop and test yourself on just 1 page. Try to explain the main idea in your own words without looking at the book. This kind of active learning builds much stronger neural pathways in your brain, helping you retain information for the long term. In short, effective studying isn't about doing more. It's about making your brain work harder in a smarter way. Start treating every study session like a mental workout, And I promise you, you'll find yourself studying less but remembering far, far more. Most people think that if they just read carefully or listen attentively, the information will magically stick. But science tells a different story. Not all study methods are created equal, and this is perfectly illustrated by a model called the learning pyramid. This pyramid shows us how much information we typically remember based on how we learn it. At the very bottom of the pyramid, you have passive methods. Reading, the most common study technique, gives you a retention rate of only 10%. A little better is listening to a lecture, which is about 20%. Watching a demonstration or video helps a bit more, bringing you to 30% retention, because visuals help your brain connect ideas. But all of these are still passive. You're just receiving information without really engaging with it. The real magic happens when you move up the pyramid to active engagement. The turning point is when you start practicing by doing. This simple shift skyrockets your retention to 75%. And at the very top of the pyramid, teaching others. When you teach a concept to someone else, you can achieve a staggering 90% retention rate. Why is teaching so powerful? Because in order to explain something clearly to another person, your brain is forced to fully understand, organize, and rephrase the material. This is the process that cements knowledge in your long-term memory. So, instead of just reading or listening, challenge yourself. Actively ask questions. Try to solve problems related to the topic. Explain the concepts out loud as if you were teaching a class. The more active you are in your learning, the deeper and longer you will remember it. The learning pyramid reveals a simple but profound truth. To remember deeply, you must engage deeply. Stop being a passive consumer of information. Start becoming an active doer and a teacher. When you make that shift, your brain naturally holds on to knowledge, and that is the key to achieving true, lifelong mastery. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more tips on how to learn smarter, not harder. See you in the next one.